Welcome to the Women in DevOps podcast.
Yeah,
We're
thank
so
you.
happy to have you. I'm glad that we managed to
Same
pin it
here.
down.
Same here.
Could we please start by having like a quick tour of your tech journey and your experience so far?
Okay, sounds good. Absolutely. Currently, I'm with Ansys. It's a company that specializes on simulation, and I'm a DevOps engineer with them. I have been with them for like maybe 6.5 years now, but my whole journey in tech began like if I really go back, it's like
Hmm.
2014 when I like moved from India to US to pursue my master's in technology at UNC Charlotte. It's in North Carolina. So my academic focus were very, very like a basic, like, oh, okay, I'm going into development. Okay, I'm doing web technologies right now. I used to be a developer. Okay, this is it. That's my straight path. Like my first post graduation is gonna be this. Very, very straightforward thinking. So and technically that straightforward thinking took me to a startup which said okay, I got an offer as a developer. Okay, glad. I'm so happy I have a job before my graduation. I'm gonna join.
Well, that's an
uh,
achievement on its own.
Exactly. And I was happy because it's hard with the market. And I was
Absolutely.
like, wow, okay. Wow, my straight path is going good so far. So
Pat yourself on the
everything looked
back.
good. Yeah, I was like, everything is going good, Kripa, go with it. But when I joined, things changed because I was like, I know this, and this is it, right?
Hmm.
So my title was supposed to be developer, but when I reached there, I found so much myself into different things,
Hmm.
like which I did not know, like agile practices, AWS, Jenkins, pipelines. As it's a startup, like they had everything, they were doing everything. So I was like, okay, I'm not just a developer. I'm not just creating the website or like customer service, like what they want. It's more than that. And I was very fascinated with this idea of like automation
Hmm.
and like working on AWS, which I never knew, things like that. And I was like, okay, this is DevOps. This is a different trend I never knew.
Dive into
Okay,
something
so
completely new.
right, yeah. So that's how I started. I was like, fine, okay, I'm going to deep dive. But at some point, I realized that I wanted to do a little bit more.
Hmm.
And I was like, why not just start looking for full time or something else? And then ended up in a consulting role, jumped from different projects, learned more about DevOps. And then my profile started changing from developer to DevOps.
Hmm.
My whole LinkedIn was like, okay, I'm DevOps 1, DevOps 2, things like that. It kept on moving. And at some point, I decided, okay, I'm done. I'm gonna be a full time, not no more travel.
Hmm.
Let me search for a full time. I That's how I ended up in Ansys after so many job changes, project changes. The whole idea about this my journey I liked is like I like how I meet, collaborate with developers,
Hmm.
testers, infrastructure, security, things like that. Every organization is different, how I worked, and I embrace it. I don't have any complaints. But I feel like my journey has been just exploration so
Hmm.
far. um, but
That's the best way to
looking
approach
back
it.
at Yeah, looking back at it, I'm glad everything was there for a reason, even though
Hmm.
I was frustrated at times. Yeah.
I guess that's part of that journey, isn't it? And I do love that you kind of, because DevOps initially was a practice, wasn't it? So you kind of got
Yeah,
into
10
it,
years
and then
ago. Yeah.
exactly. So you've kind of actually been there at the beginning and throughout the journey
Yes,
as it kind of crystallized
exactly.
to its own vertical, which is pretty amazing and pretty unique as well. So that
Yeah.
kind of expectation versus the reality must have been quite, heavy
It
hitting.
hit me hard, actually, to
Hmm.
be honest. And I used to be frustrated at some time. But then now me and my husband always talk, and he's like, "Look, everything is there for a reason,
Yeah.
and it's nice." Yeah.
That's a really good approach as well. Just take it,
Yes.
take the hit and just deal with it one step at a time is
Exactly.
probably the best thing we can do.
Exactly.
And with how
Yeah.
quickly the tech is moving, that's all we can do anyway. It's really
Exactly.
difficult to plan for it. That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
and I feel there are probably quite a few instances of this, but what has therefore kind of surprised you the most about working in technology over the years? And that doesn't need to be the beginning of it, it can be something really, really
Yeah. Yeah.
recent.
As I said, like everything was a surprise. So I would say like biggest surprise was when I thought everything is straightforward. You
Mm,
go to college, you go and think, learn this, and this is it. That's the straightforward thing. But then I realized, okay, technology is dynamic. Like
mm,
things are ever changing, right? Industry is not what it is today. Tomorrow it's something else.
yeah.
So when I started, I assumed everything is there. But in reality, it's all about how you adapt to it. So I have gone from like writing code, deploying, focus solely on like understanding infrastructure, talking to people, like from being like shy to not being shy,
Hmm.
working with different teams, aligning goals. Another thing is that really stood up in these years is how learnable it is. Like I used to think, oh, new thing, oh, I can't do it. But no, everything can be done. Like I used to believe that it's not done. But if you have passion, if you like it, you will learn it.
Hmm.
That's what I realized. Like as a developer, I was a little nervous and always focused on many things, which I wasn't really happy about. So
Hmm.
maybe it was not my passion, right? So I learned that everything is learnable.
Hmm.
So if you have a right mindset and if you have a passion, that's what it is. Like that's where you can learn things.
Hmm.
So yeah.
I think that's a really strong advice, and I love that you said that you just kind of have to almost not learn all the technology because that's impossible, right? There's always something
Right.
new. There's always something you want to know. There's always a way that the team is working slightly differently than you did in the past. There's just always something, and I feel like, as you said, accepting that change and just
Yes.
adapting to it is probably the
Yes.
best way forward. And if you have that
Yes.
passion and you believe it, you can do it rather than fighting it all the time and be like, no, this is not right. That's not how I work. That's not what I know.
Right.
Just kind of embracing it, like letting it kind of,
Yeah.
flow over and learn. And
If you embrace it, then you are actually into it. If you're
exactly,
not able to embrace it, then maybe think something else that you are able to adapt to it, right? You might not be
absolutely,
interested in this. Yeah.
absolutely.
That's what I learned.
Yeah. And I do like that you also mentioned the kind of belief in yourself, speaking to people, and especially your experience when you were in consultancy, like that is, speaking to different clients. It's a kind of,
Yes.
you have to be switching quite often, and be on
Yes.
top of that. And I feel like, and this might be controversial, but sometimes tech really forces you to kind of enhance and learn those social skills a lot more that you don't maybe think you need when you start. You're like,
Yes.
I'm fine, I have my headset, I'm gonna
Yeah.
crack on here with the code. I know what I'm doing. And then like here you
Yeah.
are in front of a client, trying to pitch a different architectural setup. You're like, how the
Right.
hell did I get in here?
Exactly. Yeah. Social skills is really important. Like soft skills is really
Mm,
important in DevOps. That's something I learned. And as being a shy person, I learned that if I don't speak up, then you are not there. You are not able to do things. So, but maybe other technologies might not be very similar to what I'm doing. But I still feel like if you speak up, if you
mm,
have social skills, things can get better for you
hmm.
in any technology or any field you are in.
I
So
agree.
definitely it's a learnable approach, like
Hmm.
how you want to take it. Yeah.
Absolutely. So speaking about your dynamic career, which is absolutely fantastic, I would love to know a bit more about, what excites you about learning new disciplines, learning new things. As we already mentioned quite a few times, you've been through the kind of role of creating DevOps really, and going through a
Right.
different kind of verticals yourself. So what excites you about this? What excites you about the learning?
Hmm. uh, I don't want to repeat things, but I'm just thinking. So let's say, so explore as a discipline. So let's say like what I hear a lot from others is that I'm always happy to take things in,
Hmm.
like exploring new things, right? So my manager always says, Kripa, you never hesitate to take things. I feel like you
That's a
are
good feedback.
overwhelmed. Are you sure? Like you want to take it in? But sometimes I have this energy like, oh, I want to take everything in.
You
And
want to
then
try it all.
try it all. But at some point I learned the discipline is good, like okay, take it, but also like take it where how much you can actually take it in, right? So
Hmm.
I started taking in slowly. So I started learning this new discipline, like uh, take it, be proactive. Everything is good, but sometimes there are some things that you might want to prioritize one before other. So learn to do that. One thing that, so one another thing is when I moved from development to DevOps, it felt like it felt more like a jungle gym,
Yeah.
like moving from one side to then
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
unexpectedly you are moving like to the other side.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it taught me to be like resilient,
Yeah.
and also learn there is always something valuable.
Hmm.
So the best part in tech is like around the corner, let's
Yeah.
say. um, you might think, oh, I learned this, my priority is done, I'm done learning. But that's also a big motivator for me. Okay, I'm done learning, but I can keep evolving and pass this to others.
Hmm.
So I three things. So good, you are done learning. Good, you are taking things. But also try to learn to how you can pass the knowledge to
Hmm.
others who might not know. So I might have like started doing that, like
Hmm.
taking everything in but not sharing the knowledge.
Hmm.
So I started this thing like documenting, asking people in my work and outside, do you want to co-own this thing with me so that I get some help, you also learn it. So I think like that's three most things I have learned.
Amazing. So embracing the people around yourself or within a
Yeah,
community that you have to kind of
yeah,
learn together, because it can feel quite isolated, doesn't it? When you feel overwhelmed, when you don't know something, people can or tend to be quite scared to ask for help because then they feel like, God, they're gonna know I'm an imposter and I don't know this. Of course you don't
yeah,
know. Like we all learn. So how do you overcome that feeling of being overwhelmed or maybe being scared of not knowing something that you suddenly
yeah.
have to work on, right?
Yes, exactly. Like I used to take everything, but when I became into more like managing people, even though
Hmm.
it was not official, now it's official. I learned that like maybe you feel like you want to learn it, but why don't you think that maybe others want to learn it too? Maybe they don't know they want to, but if you talk to them, maybe you will feel, oh, they have interest.
Yeah,
So embrace it, like, and also allow others to walk along with you. That's what I learned to be a good manager. At least that's what I learned. Like, don't take
absolutely.
everything. This is
Don't
for
take
me. I'm
everything.
not giving it. Yeah,
And
yeah.
how did you, because that's always an interesting one. I love talking about how, I guess, about that progression from IC to management, right? Because we actually did a podcast with someone recently who said, and I really love that quote, and I probably quoted it 100 times now, who said
Hmm.
that going to management, it's actually a different career path rather than career
Yes.
progression. And I thought about it, and it just makes so much sense. It really
Mhm.
is. So how did you find that progression? Obviously, putting yourself suddenly from a position of yes, I can do this myself to putting yourself back and giving it to the team, right? Supporting them, like
Yeah.
getting them to kind of find their way to the right
Right.
answer. How was that for
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, actually, I had this talk with one of my other coworkers who I met in one of my courses where we were trying to learn women in technology. So
Hmm.
we had the same conversation. She struggled a lot,
Hmm.
actually, from when she, as an individual contributor to being a
Hmm.
manager, where you take everything, you get the credit, right?
Yeah.
Now you are in a position that you also take a little bit, but you're giving more to
Hmm.
other people. So it's a mindset, like you have to change it.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you are still a contributor, but in a different way. You
Hmm.
are contributing by taking a lot of things and distributing. You might be, you might feel that, oh, what if like I stop learning new things and my coworkers are learning more than me now?
Yeah.
You should not think that way. Maybe like collaborate.
Hmm.
Okay, give it to them. Also, take some time to learn it
Hmm.
weekly. Like spend some time. Okay, I have so much in the management side, but what if like technical is still my thing? Take some time to learn on yourself so that you are also up to the mark, like you are up to the technology, you know what's going on. So it's all mindset, like
Hmm.
change that mindset, like start giving
Yeah.
as an individual contributor, and slowly when you move to managerial position you will start learning, okay, it's a good thing. It gives you some time for yourself, also a time to learn, and
Hmm.
also time for others to embrace that, oh wow, I am learning from my manager. Oh wow,
Absolutely.
I'm getting something from my manager. It's being a role model, like you are trying to help and not
Absolutely.
trying to take,
Yeah.
right? Yeah,
But as you said, it's a really different shift of mindset, isn't it? That
it
has
is
to kind of
mindset.
happen in that progress. And maybe, as you said, like started mentoring and kind of almost growing into that role is probably the best way approach anyways. And
Yes,
speaking about encouraging others, which I really love that you mentioned, and that kind of mentorship and sharing knowledge, which is really, really important, not just as a
yes.
manager, right, but as an IC as well. So I would love to know more about your passion for encouraging others in tech. Like what kind of inspires or what inspired you to want to be a mentor and support career switchers, which are more frequent than we think actually, especially in tech.
Yeah. So I would say I grew up in a family of teachers, right? So when I was in India, my parents were teachers. My dad's side, but a lot of people were teacher. My dad used to always say me, uh, okay, you are learning, but can you tell me what you are learning so I can learn with you?
Hmm.
So it encouraged me, like how my dad, even though was not into technology, but he used to like, my dad was like, the thing like in the school, like he used to be very polite. He used to be always saying yes, yes, I'll help you, I'll
Hmm.
help you. So I learned that I'll help you is a term that you use to guide others, right?
Hmm.
Like maybe you don't have time. Okay, it's fine. But you find time when you are really passionate about like learning, also giving.
Hmm.
So that's how it instilled that belief in me that when you know something, it's just not for yourself, but an opportunity to uplift others.
Hmm.
So, and when I came to US, I was like blank. I did not know where to start. I did not know like the visa situations. I did not know how to start, how to apply.
Mm.
I used to just talk to people and learn from them. Some used to say, I'm busy, I'll let you know later.
Hmm.
Some used to be really helpful. So I learned that whoever were really helpful has like embarked everything, like changed my life. So I learned that if I learned from struggles and if I can help some other graduate or a career switcher or a person who is in dilemma, um, even if it's like 15 minutes of my
Hmm.
month, it's gonna help them, right? And they're gonna have a positive impact for
Hmm.
me. So whenever someone like pings me on LinkedIn or like some random email comes up, I'm always ready to answer them. I let them know I'm busy,
Yeah.
but I'll reply back in a week. But if I you don't get a reply from me, just remind me, and I reply them. And I always have some notes,
Hmm.
asking people, talking to people. So I just do that. So yeah, I think that kind of like it was not uh, actually like something I thought, oh, I'm going
Hmm.
to be a mentor. It just happened. Like
It just happened.
my husband
Passionate
always
about it.
says this. Yeah, my husband always says like anyone asks you a question, you are always like, okay, I'll get back to you. How do you do that? Like you have so much energy. Like you need to be a counselor, not like a
God, I
technologist.
don't know how you do it. You please tell me how you have all that energy. But I guess like giving back when you know how much of an impact it had in your life is probably what's
Yes.
fueling this, isn't it? And I will be
Yes.
really interested because I'm sure that a lot of people can relate to it. I mean, I am a career switcher myself. I'm originally from Prague, moved to London, didn't know anyone. So I do appreciate
Hmm.
that kind of situation. It can feel very, very lonely,
Very overwhelming.
lost, and very
Yeah.
sad and very overwhelming. But moving to US, right? Like starting anew really in a new country, it's a new, you don't know anyone, you don't have that kind of support system maybe that you used to. And you mentioned your
Mhm.
dad kind of fighting your corner in those sort of situations. How
Yeah.
would you what would be your advice be to people who are maybe about to go through a similar situation or going through a similar situation? How can they kind of build that support network for themselves to kind of, keep them on track, like keep them going through those harder times? Would that be
Mm.
through the mentorship, reaching out to people that they find inspiring and just asking
Yeah.
them questions?
Yes, I would say yes. Don't shy away, first of all.
Mm.
Like, I have been lucky to have a support system. That doesn't mean that everyone has. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I have had my parents, then my sister, then my husband, then my friends. But that doesn't mean like everyone has that wow, wow thing in the
Hmm.
life, right?
Of
So
course.
I would say, like, don't be shy. Like, LinkedIn is the best place. Like,
Hmm.
just randomly reach out to people and like search for people who are ready to mentor you. Even if you are at an internship, like, go and ask around. Like, you might not get a mentor from your team because maybe the company policy says that, but be open to like ask your manager and like, can I have a mentor from some other organization?
Hmm.
This is what I'm looking for, things like that. And I like how Women in DevOps is one of those communities. There are hundreds of DevOps
Hmm.
communities or like technology communities. Join them. There are free tickets. Like, just join the
Meet the people.
random webinars, meet the people, go for a coffee, things like that. But I also would say, if you don't have a support system, I would love to be your support system.
That is
This is what
amazing.
I like. This
Yeah,
is what I like.
absolutely. Find your
Yeah.
people. And I love that
Yes.
you mentioned communities because I do think that it's such a powerful tool for people to find find that support around them because
Yeah.
I know you mentioned that maybe not everyone has time, reach out to people. From my experience, every single person I'm speaking to in a leadership position, they always say, I'm mentoring. Message me if you need to. There are probably a lot
Yes.
more people that are open to it that we think. We assume
Yes.
that no one has time, but
Exactly.
actually people are really open to it. So speaking of having those kind of role models and people that you can look up to and they can help you grow, did you have any when you either when you were kind of starting your career or even at the moment, if you have anyone that you find really inspiring, please do share.
Uh, To be honest, like, I wrote this somewhere else also. I tell people I don't have one role model.
Hmm.
Starting my life, it was my mom, dad, sister. They ran around. They used to like run behind me. Okay, okay, you want to write GRE, you
Hmm.
want to write TOEFL, you want to go to US. Okay, done. We are gonna help you financially. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Things like that. Then I meet my husband. I used to struggle a lot to find job, and then he used to cheer me, even though he doesn't know anything about technology. He's
It's
into
probably
a
for the
different
better.
field. Yeah, he used to be just there, like, you will find job, it's fine. I'm like, I only
Yeah.
have 3 months, things like that.
Yeah, of
But
course.
yeah, so definitely my family. But when it comes to workplace, I have always seen this positive thing. Like, I've never found a person who has never discouraged me. I have
Yeah.
always seen people who have encouraged me. So at Ansys, definitely my manager. Like,
Hmm.
he is like, has been always my role model. Like, I started when there was no one in DevOps, like just me,
Right.
my manager, and one more person. Now
Amazing.
we have expanded it, and like, he believed in me. Like, I just did not like question him, like, oh, I want to do this, I want to. It just like went like that, like
Yeah,
how I wanted to. And then I met
absolutely.
more people, like my manager's manager, my co-workers who just joined after a few years after me. They have been my role model. I like how I do something and they will be like, Kripa, you did a great job. And like, we learn from each other to tell each other that, oh, you did a good job, even though it's a small thing. So
Absolutely.
encouragement has been there. In
Goes a long
consulting
way.
jobs also, yeah, in consulting jobs also, I have found so many women who are in leadership role,
Yeah.
and they are so strong. So, and they talk so nicely. Like, I feel like a kid now. Like, I was so young and like I did not know, but things have changed. I feel like
Absolutely.
I have hundreds of name to take, but definitely right now my manager
Yeah.
and my team. Yeah.
Amazing. I
That's
love
why I'm
that.
like, I think I'm stuck here
Yeah,
because of
you're in a
that.
good you're a good go home. Yeah,
Yes, yeah,
absolutely.
exactly.
And it's
Yeah,
great to see like companies having such a strong support system because we always talk about it, especially at our Women in DevOps when we're putting a panelist together, we always want to have a man that's finding our corner. Like, let's be honest, there's still a huge gap, diversity
correct.
gap within the
We
engineering.
talk
Like,
that
it's
about
never
a
going to
lot.
be 50-50, at least not anytime soon.
Yes,
You need those
yes,
people who are encouraging you, who are fighting your corner. And it's so, so important to find that in a workplace. So you
yes,
have the courage to go forward, right? To become a manager, to take on a
yes,
leadership position. Like, it is so
yes.
incredibly important. So,
My
uh,
manager said the same thing yesterday. Like, something we came randomly talked about this, and when you said that, I was like, Jim, you think about that, but not everyone thinks that
yeah.
way. And he's like, Oh, that's odd. Like, it's such a normal thing to think. Like, and he also said that no, it's very true. Like, women have this energy. They speak much better.
Hmm.
They are not shy people. They take everything. They have so much resilience. And it's a very true thing. And
Yeah.
he encourages that. And I have not seen anyone else actually discourage that in our team. We have a really small number of people compared to even though it's a billion company, so I think like that small number of people have always encouraged each other. At least in my circle, like I've
No,
not seen anything.
absolutely. But it
But
just
it's
speaks
not
for the
always the
culture.
same.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
It's a company culture.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's something really kind of hard that you really need to work on, don't you? Especially when you're kind of getting the new people in. And I love that
Yeah.
he's so open about it, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
differences, and you probably described that importance of diversity, and by diversity I mean diversity of thoughts within the team,
Yes.
because it is so important. Where would we be
It
without
is.
it, right? Especially now, like with AI and with all these tools, with the data coming into it,
Yes.
we do need to make sure that we have that representation. So yeah,
Exactly.
so it ends up being a good product. So I really wanted to touch really quickly, and we spoke about this a little bit, but what would your kind of advice be to a woman who wanted to pivot into a tech career for the very first time? Like, where do they start? Where do they look?
So I would say first is like you don't think that you don't belong here. Like
Hmm.
you don't have to figure it out first. That's what we talked. So start small. Like start small. Think like explore and stay curious. Like oh, this is what something interests me. Okay, let's learn. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Reach out to people. There are
Hmm.
so many people to help you. Like I learned it by myself. So tech is vast, but you don't need to master everything. So pick one thing that excites you the most, explore it deeply. If not deeply, like how much you can do, whether it's cloud, scripting, maybe you are an HR right now, but you think, oh, I'm going to be in technology.
Hmm.
Yes, go ahead. There is no age, there is no limit, like when to start. Um, just lean into transferable skills. So you might be good at speaking right now,
Hmm.
and you might not know you are good at technology also. So learn to embrace what you right now have, and
Hmm.
also try to take more things just like with the soft skills, maybe take the technical skills.
Hmm.
And if it's the opposite, if you have technical skills but your soft skills are causing issues like where you're not getting past an interview,
Hmm.
then learn on that. So that's what I learned. Like when I used to have I used to feel like my accent, my English is like a problem, and I'm
Hmm.
having issues at the interviews. And sometimes I used to feel that my nervousness like destroyed everything.
Hmm.
I could have like done better. So I started actually learning on soft skills first, because I learned that if you can't express what you are thinking, then it can cause issues too, right?
Hmm. Absolutely.
So yeah, it's vice versa. Technical
Absolutely.
versus soft skills, or soft skills versus
Yeah.
technical skills.
Never forget the other. And I do love that you mentioned English being your second language, because I can absolutely agree with that. And I know many women would, especially when you're kind of going to that leadership. You
Yeah,
can't be in a situation where it is not your first language. You have to present in front of the whole entire C-suite.
right.
You're at the spotlight. It's absolutely
Yes.
nerve-wracking. And then all I
Yeah.
can think about is, oh my God, what if I'm going to make a mistake in grammar instead of the actual content? And that's
Yes.
insane, right? So
Yeah.
do you ever feel like that? Is that like a common thing? Am I just going crazy? Like, do people feel like that?
I used to think that all the time. Like, my
Yeah.
dad is an English teacher, to be honest. And I used to feel like why my sister and dad are better at literature, grammar, and everything, and not me. I know what's in my mind, but
Yeah.
I don't know how to jot it down.
God.
I used to always think that, but I actually started reading a lot of books,
Hmm.
watching movies without subtitle. So
That's how I
that
did
kind of
it.
like yes,
That
that's how
helps.
I started listening, and it made my listening skills
Yeah,
better. So things like that.
that's a
But
really good advice. I
yeah,
agree.
and Google is the best thing.
Oh, God, I
Grammarly,
know.
just
Grammar, I
paste it.
can't be without it. Absolutely. And
Yes,
it's fine, right? Everyone has
it's
tools,
fun.
and these are just some of the ones that do help you
Yeah.
if language is your second language to kind of get to
Yes.
that level that you want to be in, like a
Yeah.
really in a professional environment. And I do
Yeah.
agree. I think the emphasis on being able to really explain what you're thinking and your processes is so important, even more so when you're actually in tech and you need to talk to people who are your clients or maybe don't come from a technical
Yes.
background, right? You need to kind of express your opinions, you need to walk them through the projects. Like, it's so important to do that clearly.
Yes.
So yeah, amazing. Absolutely agree. Now, very exciting things that I want to ask about. So alongside all of your incredible achievements and a career milestones in tech, you have also recently authored your first book, which is really exciting. Can't you
Yes.
please tell us more about it?
Oh God. Okay. So
Where to
first of
start?
all, yeah, it was a big surprise for my team also. Like, when and why?
I love that.
How?
When have
How
you had
did
the
this even
time?
happen? Yeah, when did you have the time? Like, I've never seen you take off for
Yeah.
writing a book. But yes, thanks for asking. But I don't know, like writing this book thing came in my mind like last year summer. I was
Mhm.
in Belgium with my friends, and randomly I met my friend in Belgium, and I was talking to her, and I was like, I was like, I have so much in my brain. I always think like I write blogs, I note it
Mhm.
down, but I'm so bad at like keeping note of what I know. Should I just like collaborate all my blogs and put it
Mhm.
into a book? What do you think? And then she was like, go ahead. And then I asked my husband the same thing, and he was like, if you can do it, let's try.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up starting. But to be honest, I stopped. I after 5 page, I stopped last year. I was like,
That's enough.
I don't know.
Short book.
I Yes, that's enough. I don't know if I can do it. And then I resumed it after like Thanksgiving last
Mhm.
November. And I was like, okay, I dedicate 1 to 2 hours weekly and
Mhm.
see how it goes. I thought I'm going to hit 100 pages, but I never hit 100 pages because halfway I thought, oh my God, like reading back, I feel overwhelmed. So
Yeah.
I wanted this to be a beginner book so that you don't feel overwhelmed. Like that's what I have always seen, that when I read books and it feels overwhelming, I stop and I'm done. I
Yeah.
can't do this anymore. So I wanted it to be like a blog
Mhm.
guide, also like a beginner guide where you can just go through some steps but you are clear about it.
Mhm.
So my book is called as like Beginning DevOps.
Mhm.
I wanted to I Oh my God, I changed that name so many times, I did not know what to
No,
keep, but
nomen
it's
omen. I like it. It's self-explanatory.
yes, so Beginning DevOps, and I also put a title that it's just a guide to containers, Kubernetes, and few things others. So don't come to me and say, "Oh, this was so simple." I wanted it to be simple.
Of course.
So it's a blend of my journey, like my personal journey, and like a personal guidance, I would say. I wrote it for people like it could be career switchers, graduates, or women in tech who want
Mhm.
to move and like just read about it and learn it.
Yeah.
And then if things go well, I would love to have like more in-depth
Mhm.
topics. But I wanted to see like starting with a small one and see how it goes. And it just walks through some concepts,
Mhm.
and very beginner hands-on experience examples that I
Mhm.
wrote just to give an idea what it is.
Absolutely.
And then I'll figure it out how this goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting small is the best way. I can't even fathom standing to reading a book because my brain is just big chaotic ground, and I don't know how I would be
Yes,
able to kind of break it down to something that actually makes sense, let alone a
yes,
book. So how did you? Because you have so many years under your belt, so much experience, and not even just
yeah.
DevOps, right? Like going through DevOps, like working across different verticals. How did you manage to summarize that? Where do you start if you want to write a book or if you want to write a blog? Really, where do you start?
So I was thinking of this writing a book is like you have to go through publishers, things like that.
Mhm.
But I came across one of the persons online. His name is Greg Lim.
Mhm.
He put up a YouTube video where he said that you can self-publish.
Mhm.
I was like, okay, because I already had a set of topics that I
Mhm.
wanted to write. So I was like, okay, how do we do this? I met with him on Zoom, and I just talked, okay, Greg, this is my topics and I want to write a book. He's like, yeah, just like write it down on a Word document and then let's go back again when you are done. So I write it down and he gave me an idea how to like edit it. And he said, this is the Amazon KDP website. You have all the instructions how to upload a book.
Mm-hmm.
So I went through that. The only thing I struggled was to write a book cover. Like
Mm-hmm.
I did not know like how to design a book cover. So I just I went ahead with a freelancer in fever.com.
Mm-hmm.
So that's it. Like
Amazing.
I put the word and uploaded it with my book cover, and after a few days, Amazon reviewed. They made sure there is no copyright, and they published it. Um, some people might think self-publish is not enough, it doesn't have audience and things like that, but you can always like encourage others to read through communities or like just give some
Absolutely.
discount, and maybe give it for free, whatever the author books you have, and maybe they will learn it. My agenda was not to make money. My agenda
Mm-hmm.
was just to mentor,
Mm-hmm.
and just put what I have in my brain out there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I went with self-publish, and I think it's an amazing way to just like put out what you have.
Absolutely.
um, but yeah, if anyone is interested, I would love to get in touch and just like make them learn how to do
Yeah,
it.
and it's funny, right? Because I feel like when you say publishing a book, we still think about these like boxes of books, and it's like lots of paper and binding it. But
Yeah,
actually, you can. The hard part is the writing it, as it always been. But then you don't have to do
exactly.
the hustle of actually having it bind and like printing it and everything. You can just self-publish it and see how it goes, sending to your friends, sending to your colleagues, see
Exactly.
what the feedback
Yeah.
is, right? And then go to the
Yeah.
next one knowing better.
There are ways you can actually elevate your profile. Like start with small book. If you
Hmm.
get more reviews, like you get
Yeah.
more audience, then they reach out. So Greg asked me to make your own email where
Hmm.
people can contact you. So I just
Nice.
put it in this book. So this is my
This
book.
is the book. Yay!
Yes.
Hello.
So see how small it
That
is.
is a lot more than 5 pages, I can tell.
Yes, it is for sure. And I just put up in the back of the book, like, you can just contact me on my
Oh,
email,
that's
things like
amazing. So
that.
you literally put
And
it in.
yes, and
Perfect.
if you think this is not perfect, just let me know. Be
Love that.
brutal.
Yeah, learning,
So
right? Going
I
back to our
just,
first
yeah,
conversation,
yeah,
learning, adapting.
learning. Yeah, and I'm not afraid of that anymore. Like for anything, like I always take it in a positive way. That's what I learned. Like take it in a positive way.
God,
If
you
they
have to,
have
don't
said
you?
something, yes. Otherwise, there's a reason for everything.
Yeah,
So yeah,
love that. That's fantastic. Well, congratulations. That's a huge
thank
achievement.
you, thank you.
And yeah, very, very well deserved. It looks amazing. So if you could go, and this is kind of looking back, right, at your career, the long career that you had, and all the kind of amazing milestones, but we all know that there is always a hardship behind it as well. We have to overcome these uncomfortable situations, things we don't know, learn, adapt. There's always a hurdle along
Mhm.
the way. So if you could go back to the beginning of your career, is there anything that you would change?
Yeah, I would change
Yeah.
a lot of things, but ah. But I think I would say just give yourself some grace, give yourself some space. At some point, like I learned to be optimistic and also like have not shown so much tension to others and everything. Everyone used to
Mm,
think I'm going good, I'm happy, but I used to have so much inside me, and like feel overwhelmed and tensed and very negative. I used to
mhm,
compare myself a lot, why I have the same education, same experience, and why
mhm,
I am not here. Why
mhm,
am I here? I learned there is a reason for everything. It takes time. So
mhm,
for some people, their ability to kick in early is easy. For some, it might not be.
mhm,
So just embrace it. Give some grace. That's
mhm.
what I learned. And if I have a genie and who says, Kripa, do you want to go back to this time? I would say yes, let's go
Yes,
back
please.
to 2014. Yeah, let's go to
Yeah,
2014. And I would just pat Kripa and I will be like, Kripa, it's fine.
you're
You
gonna
are
be
fine. You will
okay.
be fine. Yeah, in 10 years, you'll be fine.
Do you think though, because I'm thinking about this quite a lot, and you're absolutely right. I do think that we, and especially as women, I feel like we have a tendency of comparing ourselves to our peers and,
Hmm.
and people we don't know, which is mind blowing, but we do.
Yes.
Do you think that kind of comes with maturity? Sometimes I think about it, if because if I look back at 18, myself and my like when I was 18, 19, God forbid,
Mm-hmm.
like absolutely comparing myself. God, Kate Moss was a supermodel back in the time. I was
Yes.
comparing myself to to her. What the
Oh
hell?
my God.
So,
Yes.
like, does that come with maturity as you kind of go through life? You realize, yeah, like you're yourself. Like you have to
You are
embrace
yourself.
that.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. I
Mm,
felt that as a teenage, I used to be very introvert and
mm-hmm,
like not talk at all.
mm-hmm,
Like I used to just observe and
mm.
compare. Like what is happening here? What's next for me?
Yeah.
Should I just go behind this path or should I do what she or he is doing? Things like that. And then things changed. I came here. I started learning to meet more people, friends, people from different culture, different things. I slowly started learning, but still, uh, I was not mature enough to understand that
Mm,
comparing is something that you should not do. Everyone's life is different. Everyone's life is
absolutely.
different. So, I think I learned it very late in my
Oh,
career
so did
also.
I.
Like, it's fine. It's fine.
We
Kripa,
will
it's
be
fine.
fine.
Yeah, you will be fine. Everyone has their own ability, and there is a reason that you are doing this. So, yeah,
Absolutely.
I agree.
Awesome. I think that's a really good advice to give, not just to ourselves, but to others as
Yeah,
well.
yes.
Moving
Anyone.
forward to anyone, absolutely.
Yeah.
So going kind of back to tech and well, there's a lot of happening right now. What's one thing happening in the tech industry right now that you think maybe more people should be talking about, right?
I feel like in technology, I have always felt that developers, like me as a developer moving to DevOps, I felt like developers are always in a position they are just coding, they are delivering, coding, they are delivering. But have you ever thought, like, are they like having a good, reliable environment? Are
Mm,
they comfortable with it? Like, maybe we can improve it. Like, everyone is talking about DevOps, infrastructure, cloud computing, security. But what about the developers who are the main middle people, like, who are actually like writing the code and deploying it?
yeah.
So I feel like we should involve developers more, like into the infrastructure side, maybe locally. Like what I learned 2 years ago is dev containers, and this is some topic that I don't see a lot of top people talking about in
Mm-hmm.
organization, because developers have their own laptop and they are coding and they are deploying, and
Mm-hmm.
then some other developer says, why is it working on your computer and not mine? And I hear this almost every other day. And then I learned this 2 years ago for developers that, oh, dev container is one thing. Like you can use Docker, or you can use GitHub code spaces to like literally mimic what I am doing on
Nice.
cloud, and just put it in the webs on your laptop. You just run the container, your setup is done, and developers wouldn't like complain.
Mm.
So things like that, I feel like everyone needs to be involved.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's two things like I
No,
have always
they're
like
really good.
kept
Really
an
good.
eye recently. Yeah.
Absolutely. And now, on the other side, looking to the future, what is the biggest change you would want to see happen in tech?
I would say diversity is definitely a big topic, to be honest. Like when I was hiring, I saw the same difference.
Hmm.
Less women, or like, I don't know, like if I'm not able to see it, or is it actually the reality? So things like that, for sure. I feel like that is also another topic that I feel is important, is accessible entry points
Hmm.
into tech. So what if like they want to, but they don't have accessibility,
Mm.
right? Maybe people who are career switchers who are still thinking about it. What if women is overwhelmed
Hmm.
uh, or shy? On what if people from non-traditional backgrounds have a different way of thinking? So I feel like accessibility is also a factor. So maybe. mm, I would say it's a big topic. Like I would say we should talk more about innovation, automation, and give accessibility when you are in school.
Hmm.
Maybe as a kid in high school, like I would love to see like high school kids learning. Maybe not technology. I don't want to force anyone to. oh yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have to become a computer engineer. But maybe like make them learn that there are multiple ways to create your career. Multiple. That's what I did not learn.
Yeah,
I only
absolutely.
knew. I only knew there are three or four jobs, kind of jobs. You
Yeah,
can become a doctor, you can become an engineer, you can become a lawyer, things like
that's
that.
it.
Yes. So I feel like accessibility to what the world is doing is main thing. And I think that will also create diversity. Like more people will
Mm-hmm.
know, more family would be encouraging their kids, their women, their girls to
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, do it, things like that. And also company encouraging some women actually get very tensed and overwhelmed because they might have kids at home,
Yeah.
they might have a big family, and they think, how am I going to manage
Mm.
everything?
Which is
So
a fair
there should,
question, to be honest. I can
yes,
understand how that can cause stress and bit
yes,
feeling
correct.
overwhelmed for sure.
So maybe policies like where we
Maybe ease it
value
up when
them.
they come back.
Yes,
Absolutely.
yes.
I spoke to someone recently at the Women in DevOps event who said that their company has like the introduction to workplace. So they, while you're off for like a year or so
Hmm.
to have a baby, while you come back, they provide you with like courses for the next 2 months, so you can kind of be up
Yes,
to date, because obviously the tech moves so incredibly fast that while you're out for a
yeah,
year, it is in completely different space, and so is probably the code base and everything included. So
yes,
I thought that was really clever, and giving them the chance to kind of, bring themselves up to speed in like a non-pressure environment, but they actually
yes,
get almost coached to that rather than just drop in the middle of it and then,
yeah,
being super overwhelmed, of course, and trying to juggle in family and bring yourself up to speed.
yeah. So basically no one should feel outsider, right?
Yeah, I
Any
agree.
human. I'm
But thank you
okay.
so much for your time. I really,
Yes,
really
thank you
enjoyed it.
so much.
It is always amazing to hear about companies as well that have such an encouraging environment. Like, it
Same
gives me
here.
hope.
Yes,
It gives
same.
me hope, and it's nice to
Yes,
see like another mentor out there that's kind of open to mentor other
yes,
people. And if I do meet some, people coming into tech, I know point them the right direction now.
yes. And I would definitely would be happy to mentor anyone, help whenever I have
Mhm.
some time. And I would just give this one thing to all listeners,
Mhm.
like just summarize what we talked. Like there is nothing you have figured it out. Just start it. You will figure it out at some point. And like, if your company has like women in tech, women in any field communities, go join them, have a
Mhm.
coffee with people. If it's not a woman, like there are people like in our women in tech, like so many men are
Mhm.
in the team. They
Absolutely.
love to see the perspective of a woman. So just like go join them, like just Google around how many communities are around you. So just learn and also allow others to learn.
Yeah.
That's what I would say always. Like let them learn. It's good. It's always good.
Absolutely. Awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, and thank you so
Yes.
much for your
Thank you
time,
so
Kripa, and
much.
hopefully I will speak to you very soon.
Yes, it was so nice meeting you.
A pleasure. Bye bye.
Bye. Bye.